This wasn't just about corruption. It was about trust. We always talk about the monsters in the dark, the ones we see coming from miles away. But we never talk about the ones sitting right next to us, the ones who know our secrets, the ones who know our names, and how the people you would risk your life for might be the same people who destroy you. Welcome to The Rip. It's going to be a long way down. The Rip isn't just a crime story. It's a mirror. It's a reality many people are living every single day, but few are willing to admit out loud. Because sometimes the system you serve, the one you gave your youth, your sleep, and your sanity to, doesn't serve you back. It doesn't even see you. We're taught that if we play by the rules, we'll be protected. But in The Rip, we see the ugly truth. Loyalty isn't always a badge of honor. Sometimes, it's just a handle for someone else to hold on to while they use you. It's not just about a rip in the plan. It's about the rip in the soul when you realize you were just a line item on a budget that's been cleared. At the beginning, everything feels normal. You see a unit, a team, a brotherhood. It's the kind of bond that feels unbreakable because it's forged in the daily grind. These are people who share meals, people who trust each other with their lives, people who go to sleep every night believing they are the good guys doing the right thing. But then the atmosphere shifts. You begin to notice something, and it's not what you'd expect. It's not a sudden act of chaos. It's not loud violence. It's not an obvious betrayal that hits you like a freight train. It's just small cracks, a decision that feels slightly off, a look that lingers a second too long, a heavy silence in a room that used to be full of laughter. You want to call it out, but you can't put your finger on what's wrong. And that's the most terrifying part. That's how it always starts. It doesn't start with a villainous plot or a grand act of evil. It starts with a small compromise. A tiny corner cut here, a secret kept there. Until one day, you realize the ground you're standing on isn't solid anymore. It's paper thin.
Let's talk about something we often ignore because it's uncomfortable. Let's talk about the system. Because it's easy to blame individuals, it's easy to point a finger at a dirty cop or a corrupt agent. But what about the structure that built them? What about the machine they are just cogs in? Security personnel, police officers, detectives, these people aren't robots. They risk their lives every single day. They carry the weight of things we don't even want to see in our nightmares. They carry the stress, the fear, the crushing pressure of a badge. But are they truly supported? Are their needs ever actually taken care of, or are they just tools to be used until they're blunt? Are they given a way out, or are they left to survive entirely on their own? Because when survival becomes personal, when it's about your family, your house, your future, that's when the lines between right and wrong don't just blur, they disappear. Remember that moment when Detective Lolo Salazar held that bundle of cash? She wasn't looking at money, she was looking at an exit strategy. She asked, "What would you do with this, Numa?" And Detective Numa Baptiste's reply, it wasn't greed, it was a confession.
Everything.
That wasn't just about the cash. That was desperation. That was the sound of two women who had been pushed to the edge by a world that stopped caring about them. That was a system that failed them long before they ever decided to fail it. Because nobody wakes up, looks in the mirror and says, "I want to be the villain today. I want to be corrupt." That's just not how the human heart works. It doesn't start with a grand betrayal. It starts with the weight of the world on your shoulders. It starts with the bills on the kitchen table, the pressure, the needs, the responsibilities that keep you up at 3 a.m. And then comes the justification, the mental gymnastics we all do to stay the hero of our own story. You start telling yourself, I deserve this for everything I've sacrificed. They don't pay me enough to bleed for them. No one will even notice. It's just a drop in the ocean. But that drop creates a ripple, and before you even realize you've stepped over the line, you aren't holding the line anymore. You aren't protecting the law. You aren't the shield between the public and the chaos. You've become the chaos, because now you're only protecting yourself. In the rip, you see that transition happen in real time. It's not a jump, it's a slide. And once you start sliding, it's almost impossible to stop. Now let's talk about a layer of this story that most people overlook: the internal friction, the investigation itself. Think about the scene. The air is already thick with secrets, and then the other officers arrive. They aren't there to help, they're there to interfere. They want to take control. They want to peel back the curtain and expose everything before the ink is even dry on the report. It created this jagged tension, this constant risk that the whole house of cards was going to blow over. Because here is the uncomfortable truth: not every investigation should be loud. Not every detail is meant for the public eye or the morning briefing. True police work? It requires silence. It requires a specific kind of strategy and a deep, unspoken trust. When those outside officers pushed in, it didn't feel like justice. It felt like a threat to the very fragile peace Lolo and Numa were trying to maintain. But then something crucial happened. Something that says everything about the world of the Rip. They obeyed. Even in that heat, even when the disagreement was vibrating in the air, there was still a shred of respect for the detectives leading the case. They stepped back. And that shows you something powerful. Even in a system that is fractured and bleeding, there are still fragments of discipline. There's still a code. It's a thin line, but it's the only thing keeping the whole city from falling into the abyss. This movie hits differently than your standard Hollywood thriller. It leaves a weight in your chest because it's presented as a true story. Which means this isn't just scripted entertainment for a Friday night. This isn't just cinema. This is reality caught on film. This is the blueprint of human failure. It's a reminder that this has happened before, it's happening right now, and unless something fundamental shifts, it will happen again. It's in our workplaces, our governments, and even in our own families. We see people staying silent, and we're quick to judge them, aren't we? But the Rip shows us the why. People don't stay silent because they're okay with the corruption. They don't stay silent because they've lost their soul. They stay silent because speaking up comes at a cost that isn't just about a job or a paycheck. It's a cost that involves their safety, their family's future, and their very survival. And the tragedy of the Rip is the realization that for many good people, that cost is simply too high to pay. It's the story of how the world breaks the people who are meant to fix it. The real tragedy in the Rip, the thing that's going to keep you awake tonight, isn't the crime itself. It's not the money, the guns, or the broken laws. It's the exact moment trust dies, because trust is the only thing that holds a world like this together. And once that trust is gone, everything, and I mean everything, collapses. The friendship you thought was solid? Gone. The loyalty you built your career on? Dust. Your very identity as a good person? It vanishes in an instant. And in the wreckage, you're left with one haunting question that you can't run away from. Who am I now? Because that is the secret. The Rip exposes, betrayal isn't a weapon you just point at someone else. It's a double-edged sword. It doesn't just destroy the person across from you. It destroys you. It hollows you out until there's nothing left but the choices you made. You don't just lose your partner, you lose your reflection. So, let me ask you something, and don't answer too quickly. If you were in their position, if the walls were closing in and every exit was barred, what would you truly do? If your survival, your family's future, your very life, depended on one single split-second decision, would you stay loyal to a code that has already forgotten you? Or would you choose to survive at any cost? It's easy to judge from the comfort of a theater seat or a couch, but the Rip strips that comfort away. Because if you chose survival, if you took that money, told that lie, or turned that back, would you still recognize the person looking back at you in the mirror the next morning? Or would you just see a stranger wearing your clothes? Maybe that's the real rip. Not the crime, not the betrayal, but the gap between who we think we are and who we actually become when the world finally pushes back. Because one day, life might not give you a perfect choice. It won't give you a clear right and wrong or a path paved with gold. It will only give you a difficult one, a choice that bleeds, a choice that leaves a mark. And the truth we see in the rip, the truth we see in the world every day, is that not everyone walks away from that moment with their soul intact. Sometimes survival is the only thing you have left, but sometimes survival is the most expensive thing you'll ever buy. So now I'll leave you with this. If loyalty costs you everything you have and everyone you love, is it still worth it? And if survival changes you so much that you don't recognize your own name, was it really survival? Or did the person you used to be die anyway? Take a moment, really think about it, because these aren't just movie questions, they are life questions. When you're ready, tell me in the comments, would you choose loyalty or survival? There are no easy answers here, and I want to read your perspective. If this breakdown made you feel something, if it pulled back the curtain on a truth you felt but couldn't name, then don't just watch and leave, like the video, not for me, but so the algorithm finds the people who need to hear this. And hit subscribe if you're ready for stories that don't just entertain, but challenge the very way you see your world. This is The Aftermath, where we make movie review. I'll see you in the next story. Here we don't just watch, we understand.